Medigroup Physician Services presents Medigroup's Frank's Fast Five with Healthcare Executives, produced by Bridget Wilson and Carrie Peters. Today's guest is Abbi Jones, Inventor and CEO for Ecopee. Now, here's your host, Medigroup's Frank Gillespie.
Well, it's nice to be with you again and welcome to another edition of Medigroup's Frank's Fast Five. Today I have the privilege of sharing in some conversation with Abbi Jones, inventor and CEO for Ecopee. Ecopee bringing you a mess-free, easier way to leave a urine sample. Ecopee is designed to assist patients who are leaving a urine specimen for any reason. Ecopee is a contracted supplier of Medigroup. Ladies and gentlemen, Abbi, it is an honor and welcome. How are you?
Hey, Frank, so much. Thank you for having me so much. And it's an honor to be with you and to tell you about my product and let Medigroup know about my product and how it can raise the standard of care, and how I'm pushing this new product to be the golden standard in the medical space. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a very unique product and fascinating. And I'm glad we were able to put it under contract. So, Abbi, again, thanks for your time with regard to today. And I'll jump right into these questions. I don't want to waste your time. I know you're a busy lady. Just, can you give us a little bit of background about your experience in healthcare, kind of how you got started, or a little bit of background of how you got things going?
Yes. So actually, I was a high school science teacher. So that's my science background, college science. And I made the weird leap from science teacher to pharmaceutical rep. Again, all with this line of science. But when I was a pharmaceutical rep, I started in specialty OBGYN. So I was calling on 120 offices a month, all OBGYNs. And at this time, I'm having my own three children, and I am every day watching women struggle leaving urine samples. So I'm struggling, and women don't talk about this. We all kind of struggle with it. Nobody talks about it. But at the same time, I'm watching in 120 offices, all women, all ages, all sizes, struggling to leave this urine sample. So my background, and how it all comes together and how I invented this is in science, the pharmaceutical world, the medical world, and in being in offices and watching and interacting.
Wow, so you had that full background. You had that experience of seeing what the need was and actually being able to put something to it to fix it. I love that.
Yes, an
Well,
actual solution to a problem. Yeah.
absolutely. That's fantastic. And a science teacher, that's really neat. I had no idea that you were a science. How many years were you a science teacher?
6 years, and I
Wow.
taught high school and middle school, which I actually adore. I loved it. I loved it so much. So I taught life science and anatomy, and
Oh
really
my
got
goodness.
in there with the kids. I taught health, and
I
boy,
bet
that
you were great. I bet you were a great teacher. That's awesome. I had no idea. That's fantastic. You learn something every time I do one of these.
that's right.
So, Abbi, can you tell us a little bit about Ecopee and why paper?
Yeah. So this is it. This is Ecopee, and it is Ecopee, and I wanted to make that distinction. A lot of people call it Ecopee because it looks like Ecopee, but it is Ecopee, and that's a great point because it is made with paper. And when I started out, because of my background in the medical field, everything's made with plastic, and that's okay. There's a lot of need, for one-time use plastic. I got that. But there is a lot of areas where we can use paper. There is a lot where we can go green. And this, when I was starting out, I thought, man, this can be paper. It's okay. We can lessen our carbon footprint, and it can be made with paper. So I went down the paper route and discovered it could work, and it was okay. And so I was very happy about that. So it is Ecopee. And what it does is any lab cup. And listen, the first day I was working on this, I went to 10 different offices because I was friends with them. And I asked for a lab cup, and I got 10 different lab cups.
Oh
So
my.
every office has their own little lab cup that they like to use. So I knew I had to create a product that could fit any lab cups out there. Okay. So we did. So you put any lab cup right into this bottom section.
Okay.
Patient can just place it underneath them, standing or sitting, and it streamlines the urine right into the lab cup.
Wow.
And then the patient just simply pulls this off. This gets thrown away, and then you turn in your lab cup, clean, enough volume for testing, and you simply just walk away. Now, I made this for women with women in mind, but as we've gone on this journey, it has turned into a wide variety of people who actually need this.
I
So
bet. I bet.
pediatrics, elderly,
Yes, ma'am.
disabled. So many people need assistance leaving a urine sample. So while I invented this for women, it is now across the board for all kinds of people who need help, including caregivers. So caregivers can easily put the cup in, sit it underneath the patient sitting or standing, and maneuver this to also collect the urine for the patient and turn it in. So
That is
it's
amazing.
win-win for everybody.
It definitely is very, very interesting. So was EcoP designed and targeted? I think we know the answer to this based on what you just said, but to a specific healthcare audience, or is the application viable for all patient types? It sounds
Every
like the latter.
I mean, every time I say a group of people, like I just said, elderly, caregivers,
Right.
disabled, another group of people come forward and say, oh, we need this too. So I have learned to say this is for anybody who
That's
needs
fantastic, though. That's really, and it's
it.
made from paper, correct? It's made.
This is a glorified paper plate. Can I
Okay.
just say, I mean, it really is. It's called a clam design. It
Okay.
does have a really, really, really thin layer of poly on
Okay.
top, just because we didn't want raw material getting in the urine and contaminating it.
Makes
But
sense.
this, yeah, but it's so thin, it does break down and biodegrade in the landfill. So it is biodegradable. We know this will end up in the landfill
Sure.
and it is eco-friendly.
I
So it is
understand.
basically a paper plate.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So, Abby, as a CEO, how do you maintain a culture of innovation and inspire your team? I mean, I can tell by your passion for this that that's going to rub off on all of your coworkers and
Yes.
people that you work with. But how else do you maintain that culture of innovation?
So when paper. So whenever we're sitting together, I'm like, okay, guys, how many other things can be made with paper? How many other things can we think of that were made in the 70s, the 50s, the 40s that we
Yeah.
can have
Yeah.
that are one-time use that we could reinvent with paper? So there we have a long list of things that we would like to take and reinvent with paper, reuse with paper. Paper, I mean, it's durable these days. You can do a lot with paper. And the machines and the company we use, we work with Graphic Packaging International. And our manufacturing plant is actually in Wisconsin. They're right
Yeah.
here. We can work closely with them. They're incredible. So we are pushing this medical industry to think outside of the box a little bit. And
Sure.
again, I'll say it again. We understand IVs must be plastic. Like there are spots where we understand that,
Right.
but there's a whole world, our whole niche where we know we can use paper and lessen that carbon footprint. So that's where I'm pushing my team to continue thinking. And as problems arise, again, we have more things in the pipeline, and everything we're going to push out will be made with paper. And that's why we're called Medpaper.
I'm looking forward then to the next thing that comes out. That's
Yes,
fantastic. Definitely keep us posted.
we
So,
will.
last question is, as we were talking before we started the call, everything's going so fast. We're already the middle of the month. The whole last year went crazy. So we're at the end of this already. But what is a piece of advice you received early in your career, Abby, that you still use today?
Don't be afraid to ask. You
Oh,
know, at the beginning, I was timid to ask, can this be made with paper? And who do you call? Like, so when I wanted this to be made with paper, who calls the largest paper manufacturing plant in the world? Like, who does that? And I was scared to call them. I had a contact. I had a contact with Graphic Packaging International, but I'm like,
okay.
who's going to pick up the phone to
Right.
little Abby Jones in Alabama, and listen? And it was a fear. And somebody just said, just ask. Do not be afraid. Just ask. Were they going to say no?
Mm,
Okay.
right.
I called and asked, and they said, we would love to meet with you. We've actually been told to go fish in new ponds outside the grocery store, and this is exactly what we're looking for. If I had not made that phone call I mean, that's what they were actually looking for. So it was like all the work, the stars all lined up, and we had a meeting in the next few weeks, and we sat down and we were aligned, and they said yes, and we will work with you. You have all of our designers and engineers, and let's do this. They were so excited, and little Abby from Alabama sat with little. I mean, it happened, and so that pushed me then to
Yeah.
go, okay, I'm going to keep asking. And I have kept asking and kept asking. And here we
Oh,
are. And
that is really cool. I love it. You're right. If you don't ask, you won't ever know. That's very
um,
cool.
you'll never know. And the answer will always be no. But if you
Right.
just keep asking, I mean, now we have patents all over the world. This is needed all over the world. We have 16
Absolutely.
patents. We are pushing the envelope. We are saying yes, paper in the medical field. We know it sounds weird, but it can be done. Just hear us out, and so what seems scary, my mom calls it a paper lion. Just push it over. It's not that scary. Just
No,
keep pushing. So
that is
that
awesome. What a
is,
great story.
yes.
I love talking with you because I'm always inspired after I talk with you. And this is the most I've had a chance to talk with you, but I'm all uplifted now. Abby, thank you very much. That's awesome. Great story. Phenomenal product with the use of paper. And as I said before, as more products come out, keep us posted with this paper
Well,
venture. That's very cool.
we
And
will.
thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it and keep in touch.
Frank, thank you so much for your time. We will keep in touch. We will let you know when our new products come out. In the meantime, for all of your members, if you have any questions or concerns or anything at all, please reach out to me. I am very open and would love to speak to any of you guys. So thank you so much.
Couldn't say it any better. Thanks again. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon, Abby. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Frank.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been Medigroup's Frank's Fast Five with Healthcare Executives, produced by Bridget Wilson and Carrie Peters, and hosted by Frank Gillespie. Special thanks to Abbi Jones, Inventor and CEO for Ecopee. This has been a presentation of Medigroup Physician Services.